Are you a God-fearing man, Senator? That's such a strange phrase. I've always thought of God as a teacher, as a bringer of light, wisdom, and understanding. You see, I think what you really are afraid of is me.
You are now listening to Just My Thoughts on G Blue Radio, powered by Blog Talk Radio and Graffiti Bleu, worldwide at gblue.com.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you sitting there. Republicans, Democrats, and black people who love Donald Trump. Episode 8, Just My Thoughts. Let's get right to it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes, the sexy and the not so sexy, big children and little. I am novice author Paul Lamont Anthony Wright, aka Graffiti Bleu. You've been anywhere in the world, but you're here. This is Just My Thoughts, episode 8. No, this is episode 7. I love the infinity sign so much. I'm rushing the 8 thing, but this is actually episode 7. Republicans, Democrats, and black people who love Donald Trump. I'm not going to take too much of your time. All of this channel basically is black intellectualism. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I am a mouthpiece. I'm a poet. I'm a writer. I love language. I'm a communicator. I see things in the abstract, and I like to bring abstract ideas to the table. And because I feel as a people, it's just different. Everything we do to try to fix things doesn't end up working. So we need a different approach, and I hope to help that different approach. But let's get to the episode. I will make my point in a minute. On one side, I want to talk about the Republican Party. The Republican Party, interestingly enough, spearheaded the movement, in their origins, spearheaded the movement to stop the Confederacy. They were vehemently against it, and as a party of this country, they had their beginnings with stopping the spread of slavery. Yet we're in a place where prominent Republican leaders are trying to preserve statues of the Confederacy. It's just interesting to me. The Democratic Party is one of the oldest parties in the world, nonetheless the United States. And they started out billing themselves as a party for the common man. What does that mean? And if Republicans were trying to stop the spread of slavery, Democrats typically put themselves against those guys. What were the Dems? Were they unified in that? Did the Democrats yeah, we don't like the Republicans, but we agree about the slavery thing? Back then, in the beginning? I don't know. I want to take a quote. Let's pause here. I'll make my point in a second. Let's take a quote from one of my favorite books of all time that I like reading. It's called Propaganda, and I wanted to understand basically why we get bamboozled so much. Why are we so quick to be tricked? Why? Let's take full ownership. We did this to us. We're doing this. We're creating this whole thing. So what did we do? The quote from the book Propaganda is as follows. In theory, Every citizen makes up his or her mind on public questions and matters of private conduct. In practice, if all men or women had to study for themselves the abstruse economic, political, and ethical data involved in every question, they would find it impossible to come to a conclusion without anything. We have voluntarily agreed to let an invisible government sift the data and high spot the outstanding issues so that our field of choice shall be narrowed by practical proportions. In ghetto terms, for some reason human beings love for people to think for us. That makes sense to me, because are we going to just take every policy? Every human being is going to take, every American is going to take every policy that a politician puts forth, and we're going to go through data. Okay, how did this policy work back in the day? How does it work now? And has it, what are the numbers of every law that's passed? So we gravitate to personality, likability, cleanliness. If a person could match our ideal, we don't want to do the fucking work. So we just please be our guy. And because we're vain as fuck as human beings, filled with malevolence, we will turn a blind eye because we ourselves don't want to be wrong. So sometimes when people get behind a candidate, actually most times when people get behind a singular candidate and he or she starts not doing so well, we defend them with all of our energy because we're trying to save face, basically. So what has all of this, human malevolence, is kind of where I'm going here, have to do with black Trump supporters? Because remember, episode 7 is titled Republicans, Democrats, and black people who love or say they love Donald Trump. Okay, I'll make my point. I was on a blog. I'm a blogger, so I like to look at the competition. And I come across a brother, well-spoken cat, with a big old MAGA hat on. Okay, this is interesting. Listen to his blog because I really want to hear the argument. And he starts off, and I'm paraphrasing, he starts off the whole video. I love me some Donald Trump. But every time I say I love Donald Trump, people say, how could you love such a racist figure? And I ask them, can you prove that he's racist? And not one person could ever prove that he's racist. Now I'm looking at this dude as he's saying this, and I see the misdirect. But I'm asking you if you see the cloud around the misdirect, because it's huge. Because if you really think about it, how could one prove such a thing? Prove that he is racist. What are you bringing forth? Because as far as I understand it, racism has a lot to do with your self-perception, how you identify yourself, and that self-view pitted or measured against other people. So if you have a self-view where you feel like you high and mighty and everybody's beneath you, you're a racist. Or not. But how do you prove that? How can you prove how a person perceives themselves? Probably could. But I can't think of one right now. It's a misdirect. So I'm like, well, why would a brother do this obvious misdirect? You want to know why? Because when he was asked, why do you love Donald Trump? He never answered. Now think to yourself, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes, who do you love? Let's say I love Lauryn Hill. I might not love the person, but I certainly love her art. Why do I love her art? Because the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is a freaking masterpiece, and her Unplugged album was so lyrically dense and layered, it took me 10 years to fully wrap my head around what the fuck she was saying. Easy. Why do you love somebody? When you really love somebody, you have no problem, my friend, telling people why you love. You ask the brothers why they love Donald Trump. Prove to me he's racist. Cloud, 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 cloud. Why would a guy do that? I'm coming right back around to human malevolence. You have some people who would burn the world so that they could be king of the ashes. No different than these politicians do. Because whether you are liked like a Barack Obama or you are disliked like a George W. Bush, when their terms are over, the rich get richer. When George W. Bush stepped out of office, the gap between the wealthiest Americans and the rest of us was pretty freaking huge. Barack Obama disagreed a lot with George W. Bush and vice versa, but when Barack Obama finished his 8 years, the gap between the wealthiest Americans and the rest of us was even fucking larger. Why do people do this? I attribute it to human malevolence. We are outside, in my personal opinion, of the grace of God. We're some pretty twisted fuckers here on this planet. In the case of my Donald Trump loving fellow blogger, he would sell out the race for likes. A black man saying he loves Donald Trump, in my view, is just clickbait. Hey, I know this is a polarizing figure. I know this is odd. I know this is the fly in the ointment, the black ink on white paper. Come click this and find out why. But I'll never tell you why. Clickbait. I would burn the world to be king of the ashes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes, the sexy and the not so sexy. Just because I was born at night doesn't mean I was born last night. I'm not asking you to agree with anything I freaking said yesterday. I'm just trying to get you to think critically. Episode 8 coming next. I like that take.
I do too.